The space around Earth was quiet. Stars blinked in the black sky like they had for millions of years. No one expected what was about to happen. Lieutenant Colonel Jake Morrison sat in his chair at NORAD. It was just another normal day. He drank his coffee and watched the green screens that showed empty space. The machines beeped softly. Everything was calm. Then the screens went crazy. Red lights flashed everywhere. Alarms rang so loud that Jake spilled his coffee. Numbers ran across the screens faster than he could read them. Something big was happening. What is this? Jake shouted over the noise. Dr. Lisa Carter ran to her computer. She was the smartest person at the base. Her fingers moved fast on the keyboard. Her face went white. "Jake, you need to see this," she said. Her voice was quiet and scared. Jake looked at her screen. What he saw made his heart stop. Thousands of dots appeared on the radar. They were coming from the edge of the solar system. They were moving toward Earth. How many? Jake asked. Lisa checked her numbers again. Almost 10,000 ships. They just came out of nowhere. Far away in space, Admiral Kethver stood on the bridge of his huge ship. He was tall and had gray skin. His eyes were yellow like a cat's. He wore a dark uniform with many medals. Admiral looked at the small blue planet on his screen. Earth looked so tiny and helpless. He smiled. This would be easy. Another primitive world, he said to his officers. They probably still use rockets to fly. Captain Vextel stood next to him. He was younger, but just as proud. "Should we demand surrender now, Admiral?" "Of course," Kethver said. "They will give up as soon as they see our fleet. They always do." The Zephyrians had conquered many worlds. They were strong and had great ships. Their weapons could destroy cities. Their shields could stop any attack. Every planet they visited gave up without a fight. Back on Earth, Jake called the president. Helen Brooks was having breakfast when her phone rang. She was a tough woman who had been in many wars. "Madam President," Jake said, "we have a problem. A big problem." He told her about the alien ships. The president listened without saying a word. When he finished, she was quiet for a long time. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. They're real. And they're coming here." President Brooks put down her coffee. "Call everyone. Congress, the military, our allies. We need to prepare." Within hours, the world knew about the alien fleet. People watched the news with fear. Some prayed. Others packed their bags to run. But many just waited to see what would happen. The aliens sent their first message. It came in perfect English. The voice was cold and proud. "People of Earth," the message said, "we are the Zephyrian Empire. We have come to add your world to our kingdom. You will surrender now. If you fight, we will destroy you." President Brooks sat in the White House with her best advisors. They all looked scared except for her. "What do we tell them?" Asked the Secretary of Defense. The president stood up. She walked to the window and looked at the sky. Somewhere up there, an alien fleet was coming to take her world. "We tell them no," she said. Her advisors looked shocked. "Madam President, they have 10,000 ships. We can't fight them." "Maybe not," she said, "but we won't just give up. That's not who we are." She recorded her answer. People all over the world watched as their president spoke to the aliens. "We are the United States of America, and we speak for Earth," she said. "We do not surrender. We do not bow to anyone. If you want our world, you'll have to take it." On the alien ship, Admiral Kethver couldn't believe what he heard. No one had ever said no to him before. He played the message again. "They refuse?" Captain Vextel asked. "But they must see our fleet." "How can they refuse?" The Admiral was angry. His yellow eyes glowed brighter. "They are too stupid to understand. We will show them what happens to those who defy us. Commander Rick Stone got the call that changed his life. He was on his ship, the USS Defiant, when the order came. Take 12 ships and go see what the aliens were planning. Rick was a good soldier. He had fought in 3 wars. But he had never fought aliens before. His ships were Earth's best, but they were still just human ships. "Sir," his radio officer said, "we're getting close to the alien fleet." Rick looked at his screen. The alien ships were huge. Each one was bigger than a city. There were so many of them that they blocked out the stars. "My God," he whispered, but Rick was a brave man. He had a job to do. He took his ships closer to get a better look. He needed to learn about these aliens. Earth's survival might depend on what he found. The alien ships were beautiful and terrible. They had smooth curves and glowing lights. They moved in perfect formations. Everything about them showed power and pride. "They think they're better than us," Rick said to his crew. "They think this will be easy. Won't it be?" asked his second officer. Rick watched the alien fleet. They were strong, but they were also predictable. They followed patterns. They moved like they had done this many times before. "Maybe," Rick said, "but we're going to make them work for it." The stage was set. 10,000 alien ships moved toward Earth. They expected an easy victory. They had conquered 17 worlds before this one, but Earth was different. Earth had people who would rather die than surrender. Earth had people who would fight even when they couldn't win. The aliens didn't know this yet. They would learn soon enough. The war for Earth was about to begin. The first battle happened near Mars. Captain Amy Walsh was in charge of the USS Wolverine when the alien scouts came looking for trouble. She was a tough woman who had been in the Navy for 20 years. "Captain," her radar officer called out, "3 alien ships coming toward us. They're moving fast." Amy looked at her screen. The alien ships were sleek and shiny. They moved with confidence, like they owned the space around them. Amy's ship was smaller and older, but she had something the aliens didn't expect. "All hands, battle stations," she ordered. "This is what we trained for." The alien ships came closer. They didn't even bother to hide. They flew straight at Amy's ship like nothing could stop them. They had done this before on other worlds. It was always the same. The primitive people would see their ships and run away, but Amy Walsh didn't run. "Fire everything we have," she shouted. The Wolverine's guns blazed. Missiles flew through space toward the alien ships. The aliens were surprised. They expected the humans to surrender or flee. Instead, they were fighting back. The alien ships had strong shields. Amy's weapons bounced off them like rain on a roof. But the aliens made a mistake. They came too close. Thinking the human ship was harmless. Amy saw her chance. "Ram them," she ordered. "Captain?" her pilot asked. "That will destroy our ship too." "Do it," Amy said. "Someone has to teach these aliens that humans don't give up." The Wolverine turned and flew straight at the biggest alien ship. The aliens tried to turn away, but it was too late. The human ship crashed into their hull with a massive explosion. Both ships were destroyed. But the other 2 alien ships were damaged by the blast. They limped back to their fleet, confused and scared. Lieutenant Commander Pete Garcia watched the battle from the command ship. He was a smart officer who noticed things others missed. What he saw made him think. "The aliens don't understand us," he told his captain. "They've never fought anyone who would die to win." "What do you mean?" the captain asked. "Look at how they fight," Pete said. "They expect us to run when we see their big ships. When we don't run, they don't know what to do." On the alien flagship, Admiral Kethvar was angry. 3 of his scout ships had been sent to check on the humans. Only 2 came back, and they were badly damaged. How is this possible? He demanded. These humans have primitive weapons. They should not be able to hurt us. Captain Vexthil looked at the damage reports. Admiral, the humans rammed our ship. They destroyed their own vessel to damage ours. That makes no sense, the Admiral said. Why would they throw away their lives? I don't know, sir, but it worked. The Admiral was troubled. In all his years of conquest, no enemy had ever done such a thing. When they saw the Zephyrian fleet, they always surrendered. It was the smart thing to do. These humans are not smart, he decided. They are crazy. But crazy. Or not, they will lose. Dr. Lisa Carter worked day and night studying the wreckage from the first battle. She was tired, but she knew her work could save Earth. General Paul Stevens helped her understand what they had found. Look at this, Lisa said, pointing to a piece of alien metal. All their ships used the same technology. Same shields, same weapons, same everything. Is that good or bad? Paul asked. It's both, Lisa said. It makes them very efficient. But it also means they all have the same weaknesses. Lisa had found something important. The aliens were too organized. They did everything the same way. If humans could find one weakness, it would work on all the alien ships. We need to tell everyone, Paul said. This could be the key to beating them. The aliens kept coming toward Earth. They destroyed satellites and space stations as they moved. Each victory was easy for them, but it cost more than they expected. The humans didn't fight fair. They used tricks and surprises. When alien ships came to destroy a space station, they found it rigged with explosives. When they tried to capture a satellite, it turned into a bomb. Captain Tony Mitchell led a group of fighter pilots who volunteered for the most dangerous missions. They knew they probably wouldn't come back, but they didn't care. We're buying time, he told his pilots. Every alien ship we destroy is one less ship attacking Earth. Lieutenant Corinne Brooks was one of his best pilots. She was young and brave, with a smile that could light up a room. But when she climbed into her fighter, she was all business. How many aliens are we going to get today? She asked. As many as we can, Tony said. Make every shot count. The human fighters were fast and hard to hit. They flew in ways that confused the aliens. Instead of fighting in neat formations, they scattered and attacked from all directions. Aliens had better ships, but the humans had better pilots. They knew they were fighting for their homes, their families, their whole world. That made them fight harder than the aliens expected. Sergeant Chris Bailey was a mechanic who became a fighter pilot when they needed more people. He wasn't the best pilot, but he was the bravest. I'm scared, he admitted to his friends. But I'm more scared of what happens if we lose. The battles got bigger and more intense. The aliens sent more ships, but the humans kept fighting back. Every day brought new surprises, new tricks, new ways to hurt the alien fleet. The aliens started to worry. This wasn't going like their other conquests. The humans were supposed to be weak and scared. Instead, they were angry and determined. Maybe we should send more ships, suggested Captain Vexthil. No, Admiral Kethver said. We have enough ships to destroy 100 worlds. These humans just don't know when to quit. But deep down, the Admiral was starting to doubt. He had conquered 17 worlds before Earth. None of them had fought like this. None of them had been willing to die rather than surrender. Commander, Bobby Chun had an idea that would change everything. He was a communications expert who had been studying the alien radio signals. I think I can trick them, he told his commanders. I can make them think our ships are somewhere else. How? They asked. I learned their language, Bobby said. I can send fake messages on their radio channels. I can make them confused about where we are. It was a risky plan, but it might work. The aliens relied on their communications to coordinate. their huge fleet. If Bobby could confuse them, maybe the humans could win some battles. Do it, the commander said. Try anything that might work. Bobby started sending false messages to the alien fleet. He made them think human ships were attacking from the left when they were really coming from the right. He made them think big battles were happening where there were no human ships at all. The aliens became confused and scared. They didn't know what was real anymore. Some of their ships started shooting at shadows. Others flew to the wrong places. To fight battles that didn't exist, the humans were learning how to fight the aliens. They were finding weaknesses and exploiting them. But the aliens were learning too. They were starting to understand that the humans were not like other enemies they had faced. The real war was just beginning. Both sides were getting ready for bigger battles. The aliens had more ships, but the humans had more determination. Earth would not go down without a fight. The aliens would learn that conquering humanity was not going to be easy. Every victory would cost them dearly. The next battle would be even bigger. And the aliens were starting to wonder if they had made a terrible mistake by coming to Earth. The big battle was coming. Admiral Keffer decided to end this war quickly. He sent 8,000 ships toward Earth, keeping 2,000 in reserve. He thought 8,000 ships would be enough to crush the humans. This ends today, he told his officers. These humans have been lucky, but luck runs out. On Earth, Colonel Steve Rodriguez sat in Luna Base on the moon. He was in charge of defending Earth's outer ring. He looked at his screens and saw the massive alien fleet coming toward him. How many ships do we have? He asked his aide. About 300, sir, came the reply. Maybe 50 more if we count the damaged ones. Steve did the math. 8,000 enemy ships against 300 human ships. It was hopeless. But Steve had been a soldier for 30 years. He knew sometimes you had to fight even when you couldn't win. Send a message to all ships, he said. Today we make our stand. Today we show these aliens what humans are made of. Captain Diana Murphy commanded the orbital defense platforms around Earth. These were huge space stations with big guns. They couldn't move, but they could shoot hard. The aliens are coming, she told her crews. Remember what we learned from the first battles. They think they're better than us. Let's prove them wrong. The alien fleet came like a storm. 8,000 ships moving in perfect formation, their weapons glowing with deadly light. They looked unstoppable, but the humans had been busy. They had taken asteroids and turned them into weapons. They had modified their ships to explode like bombs. They had set traps throughout the solar system. The first trap was a field of asteroids near Jupiter. The aliens thought they were just rocks. But when the alien ships came close, the asteroids started moving. They had been fitted with rocket engines and guidance systems. Fire the asteroid field, Steve ordered. Hundreds of space rocks flew toward the alien fleet. Each one was as big as a building and moving faster than a bullet. The aliens tried to shoot them down, but there were too many. The asteroids crashed into the alien ships with tremendous force. Explosions lit up the darkness of space. The aliens lost 500 ships in the first 10 minutes. Admiral Keffer was shocked. How did they do that? He demanded. They turned asteroids into weapons, Captain Vexthul reported. We never expected such primitive tactics. It doesn't matter, the admiral said. We still have thousands of ships left. Keep attacking. But the humans weren't done with their surprises. Captain Tony Mitchell led his suicide squadron toward the alien fleet. These were fighters with no life support systems, just pilots and big bombs. This is it, people, Tony said over the radio. Make it count. Lieutenant Karen Brooks was right behind him. She thought about her little brother back on Earth. She thought about her parents and her friends. She thought about all the people counting on her. For Earth, she said, and flew her fighter straight into the biggest alien ship she could find. The explosion was massive. Karen's ship was destroyed, but so was the alien cruiser. All across the battlefield, human pilots were doing the same thing. They were trading their lives for alien ships. The aliens had never seen anything like it. On every world they had conquered, the people tried to save themselves. But these humans seemed to want to die if it meant hurting the aliens. They're crazy, one alien officer said. They're all crazy. Sergeant Chris Bailey was in his fighter when he saw 3 alien ships surrounding his friend. He could have escaped, but he didn't even think about it. He turned his ship around and flew straight at the aliens. "Hey, ugly," he said over the radio. "Pick on someone your own size." Chris's fighter exploded against the alien ship's hull. Both ships were destroyed, but his friend got away. That's how humans fought. They looked after each other, even when it meant dying. The aliens were losing hundreds of ships, but the humans were losing pilots and fighters they couldn't replace. It was a race to see who would run out first. Commander Bobby Chun was still playing his radio tricks. He had gotten better at speaking the alien language. Now he was sending messages that made the aliens think their own commanders were giving them orders. "Group 7, attack the left flank," Bobby said in perfect alien speech. "Group 12, fall. Back to defend the rear," he said a minute later. The alien fleet started to break apart. Ships flew in different directions, following orders that weren't real. Some alien ships started shooting at each other, thinking they were human ships. Captain Diana Murphy watched from her orbital platform as the battle raged around Earth. Her big guns were firing as fast as they could, but the aliens kept coming. "We're running out of ammunition," her weapons officer reported. "Then we make every shot count," Diana said. "Target their big ships first." The orbital platforms had been upgraded with captured alien technology. Dr. Lisa Carter had worked day and night to understand how alien weapons worked. Now the human guns could punch through alien shields. Direct hit on the alien flagship. Someone called out. Admiral Kethvar felt his ship shake as the human weapons hit his shields. He couldn't believe it. How did primitive humans have weapons that could hurt his ship? "Shields down to 60%, his engineering officer reported. "Impossible," the admiral said. "Our shields are the strongest in the galaxy." "Not anymore," Captain Vextel said quietly. The battle was turning into a nightmare for the aliens. They had expected an easy victory, but the humans were fighting like demons. Every alien ship destroyed took several human ships with it, but the humans didn't seem to care. Commander Lisa Stone led a group of converted cargo ships against the alien fleet. These ships weren't built for fighting, but they had been loaded with explosives and given the best pilots Earth had. "We're not pretty, but we're mean," Lisa said to her crews. "Show them what Earth cargo haulers can do." The converted ships flew into the alien formation and exploded like giant bombs. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Who turned cargo ships into weapons? The humans did. They turned everything into weapons. Space stations became bombs. Satellites became guided missiles. Even escape pods were loaded with explosives. "They're using everything they have," Captain Vextel observed. "They're not holding anything back." "Because they know they're going to lose," Admiral Kethvar said. "They're just being dramatic." But the admiral was wrong. The humans weren't being dramatic. They were being smart. Every alien ship they destroyed was one less ship that could attack. Earth. Captain Matt Williams commanded one of Earth's last heavy cruisers. His ship was old and slow, but it was tough. He had been saving his best trick for the right moment. "All power to engines," he ordered. "We're going to ram their command ship." "Sir, that's suicide," his first officer said. "No," Matt said. "That's victory. If we take out their command ship, the rest of their fleet will be confused." Matt's ship accelerated toward the alien flagship. The aliens tried to stop him, but their weapons couldn't penetrate his ship's armor. He had replaced most of his weapons with armor plating just for this moment. The two ships collided with a flash of light that could be seen from Earth. Both ships were destroyed, but Matt's sacrifice paid off. The alien fleet lost its command center. Without their flagship, the alien fleet started to fall apart. Different groups of ships didn't know what to do. Some kept attacking, others tried to retreat, and some just floated in space, waiting for orders. The humans pressed their advantage. Every remaining human ship attacked the confused aliens. The orbital platforms fired everything they had. The suicide fighters kept coming. By the end of the day, the alien fleet was broken. Of the 8,000 ships that had attacked Earth, less than half were still fighting. The rest were destroyed or drifting in space, but the humans had paid a terrible price. Most of their ships were gone. Most of their pilots were dead. Earth's defenses were almost completely destroyed. Colonel Steve Rodriguez looked at his screens from Luna base. The immediate threat was over, but the war wasn't finished. The aliens still had 2,000 ships in reserve. "We won this battle," he said, "but we can't win another one like it." The survivors on both sides looked at each other across the darkness of space. The aliens had learned that humans would never surrender. The humans had learned that they could hurt the aliens, but at a terrible cost. The next battle would decide the fate of Earth. Both sides knew it. Both sides were preparing for the final confrontation. The aliens still had more ships, but they were scared now. They had seen what humans could do when they fought for their homes. The humans had fewer ships, but they had something the aliens didn't understand. They had hope, and they had each other. That might be enough to win the war. The final battle was coming. Earth was ready to make its last stand. Admiral Kethver stood on the bridge of his new flagship. His old ship was gone, destroyed by the crazy humans. More than half his fleet was destroyed or damaged. He had never lost so many ships in one battle. "Admiral," Captain Vexthel said, "carefully. Maybe we should retreat, regroup, come back with more ships." The Admiral's yellow eyes flashed with anger. Retreat? From these primitive humans? Never. But other officers were thinking the same thing. They had signed up to conquer weak planets, not to fight enemies who turned their own ships into bombs. The humans fought like they had nothing to lose. "Sir," another officer said, "the crew are scared. They've never seen anything like this. They're scared of humans?" The Admiral roared. "Humans with their tiny ships and ancient weapons?" "Yes, sir," the officer said quietly. "The humans don't fight like anyone else. They seem to enjoy dying if it means hurting us." On Earth, General Linda Anderson sat in the Pentagon War Room. She was in charge of all Earth's remaining forces. Around her, screens showed the damage from the Great Battle. "How many ships do we have left?" she asked. 47 combat vessels, Admiral Roy Parker reported. "Maybe a dozen more if we count the damaged ones." "And the aliens?" "About 2,000 ships left, but they're staying back. They're not attacking." Linda nodded. The aliens were scared. For the first time in this war, they were the ones who were afraid. That gave Earth a chance. "What about the virus?" she asked Dr. Lisa Carter. Lisa smiled for the first time in days. "It's working. We got into their computer systems during the battle. The virus is spreading through their fleet." During the big battle, human technicians had managed to hack into some alien ships. They planted a computer virus that was now spreading through the alien fleet. The virus didn't destroy the ships, but it made them unreliable. "Their weapons misfire," Lisa explained. "Their shields flicker on and off. Their engines stutter. It's not enough to destroy them, but it makes them much weaker." Captain Matt Williams had died destroying the alien flagship, but his sacrifice had done more than just kill the Admiral's ship. It had given Earth's computer experts access to the alien. Communication network. The aliens didn't know about the virus yet. They thought their equipment problems were just damage from the battle. But slowly, their ships were becoming less effective. "We need to attack while they're weak," General Anderson said, "before they figure out what's happening." "Attack with what?" Admiral Parker asked. "We barely have enough ships to defend Earth." "Then we use what we have," Linda said, "and we use it smart." The plan was desperate, but it might work. Earth's remaining ships would attack the alien fleet, but not in a straight fight. They would use hit-and-run tactics, striking fast and then disappearing. Captain Lisa Stone now commanded one of Earth's last heavy cruisers. Her ship was damaged, but it could still fight. She had been promoted after her captain died in the last battle. "We're not trying to destroy their whole fleet," she told her crew. "We're trying to make them panic, make them think we're everywhere." At once, the human ships split into small groups. Each group had a different target. Some would attack the alien supply ships. Others would hit the repair facilities. A few would attack the main fleet itself. Bobby Chun was still playing his radio tricks, but now he had help. The virus in the alien computers was making their communications unreliable. Bobby could send fake messages that seemed to come from the aliens themselves. Enemy ships attacking Sector 7. He broadcast in alien language. "Heavy casualties in Sector 12, he said on another channel. "Command ship under attack," he announced on a third frequency. The aliens heard these messages and believed them. They started moving their ships to defend against attacks that weren't happening. Their neat formations broke apart as ships rushed to help places that didn't need help. Meanwhile, the real human attacks were hitting where the aliens didn't expect them. Small groups of human ships would appear, shoot up alien supply convoys, and disappear before the aliens could respond. Lieutenant Commander Pete Garcia led one of these attack groups. He had studied the alien patterns for weeks. He knew where they would be and when. 3 alien fuel ships, dead ahead, his radar operator reported. "Perfect," Pete said. "Hit them fast and get out." The human ships destroyed the alien fuel convoy in minutes. Without fuel, dozens of alien ships would be stranded. It was a small victory, but it added up. All across space, human ships were hitting alien supply lines. The aliens had never had to worry about protecting their supplies before. The people they conquered always gave up too fast, but humans didn't give up. They kept fighting even when they were losing. They found new ways to hurt the alien fleet every day. Admiral Kethvar was getting desperate. His officers were questioning his orders. His ships were having equipment failures. His supply lines were under constant attack. "Maybe we should call for reinforcements," Captain Vexthal suggested again. "No," the Admiral said. "We have enough ships to destroy these humans. We just need to use them better." But the Admiral was wrong. The humans had changed the rules of war. They had turned space around Earth into a trap. Every alien ship that moved alone was attacked. Every supply convoy was destroyed. The aliens were strong, but they needed supplies to keep fighting. They needed fuel for their engines and parts for their weapons. The humans were making sure they didn't get either. Captain Diana Murphy had survived the great battle. Her orbital platform was damaged, but it was still fighting. She had a new job now, coordinating the defense of Earth itself. "The aliens are getting desperate," she reported to General Anderson. "They're making mistakes." "What kind of mistakes?" Linda asked. "They're splitting their fleet, sending small groups to hunt our ships. But our ships are faster and know where to hide. The humans were using Earth's solar system like a maze. They knew every asteroid, every moon, every place to hide. The aliens were flying blind in unfamiliar space." "Commander, Nancy Davis led a group of damaged human ships that couldn't fight anymore. Instead of giving up, she turned them into decoys. They looked like fighting ships on alien sensors, but they were actually empty. "The aliens are chasing ghosts," she reported. "They're wasting fuel and ammunition shooting at empty ships." The psychological war was as important as the shooting war. The aliens were getting more and more frustrated. They had expected an easy victory, but the humans kept surprising them. The virus in the alien computers was getting worse. Ships that had been reliable for years were now breaking down. Weapons that had conquered 17 worlds were now misfiring. "Our main cannon just exploded," one alien captain reported. "Our shields are flickering," said another. "Our engines are making strange noises," reported a third. The alien fleet was falling apart, but they didn't know why. They thought it was just bad luck, but it was really Dr. Lisa Carter's virus working its way through their systems. The final straw came when the aliens tried to attack Earth directly. Admiral Cuthbert sent his remaining ships toward the planet for one last assault, but the humans were ready. The few remaining orbital platforms opened fire. The suicide fighters came out of hiding. The hit-and-run groups struck from all sides. Alien attack fell apart before it even reached Earth. Ships collided with each other in the confusion. Some aliens started shooting at their own fleet, thinking they were human ships. "Fall back," Captain Vexthal shouted. "Fall back to defensive positions," but it was too late. The alien fleet was in full retreat. They had lost the initiative and couldn't get it back. Admiral Cuthbert watched his proud fleet running away from a handful of human ships. He had started this war with 10,000 vessels. Now he had less than 1,000 that could still fight. "This is impossible," he said. "How did we lose to such a primitive species?" Captain Vexthal looked at the tactical display. The human ships were everywhere, striking and disappearing like ghosts. The mighty Zephyrian Empire was being beaten by a species that barely had space travel. "Maybe," Vexthal said quietly, "we're not as superior as we thought." The admiral looked at his captain with surprise. No Zephyrian had ever said such a thing before. But looking at the shattered remains of his fleet, Cuthbert was beginning to wonder if it might be true. The humans had found a way to win. They couldn't match the alien ship for ship, but they could outthink them, outmaneuver them, and outfight them. The tide of war had turned. The aliens were in retreat, and the humans were pressing their advantage. The final battle was coming, and for the first time since the war began, Earth had a chance to win. But victory would come at a terrible price. Both sides were preparing for one last, desperate fight that would decide the fate of two civilizations. The end came faster than anyone expected. Admiral Cuthbert's fleet was falling apart. Ships were breaking down from the virus. Crews were scared and confused. Some alien captains were ready to surrender. "Admiral," Captain Vexthal said, "we need to leave now." Cuthbert looked at his screens. His mighty fleet was down to less than 500 working ships. The humans had only a few dozen ships left, but they were still fighting. "We can't leave," the admiral said. "The Empire doesn't retreat. The Empire doesn't lose either," Vexthal replied. "But we're losing." Around them, alien ships were trying to escape. Some were running for the edge of the solar system. Others were drifting in space, their crews dead or their engines broken. The humans pressed their attack. Every remaining human ship, every orbital platform, every armed space station was firing at the aliens. They could smell victory, and they weren't going to let it slip away. Captain Lisa Stone led the final assault. Her ship was held together with spare parts and determination, but it was still fighting. "This is for Captain Williams," she said, remembering the officer who had died ramming the alien flagship. "This is for Karen Brooks. This is for all of them." Her weapons lit up the darkness as they struck alien ships. Other human vessels joined the attack. What was left of Earth's fleet fought like they were protecting their own children. The aliens couldn't take it anymore. Ship after ship stopped fighting and tried to run. Some made it to the edge of the solar system. Most didn't. When the shooting finally stopped, only 17 alien ships escaped into deep space. 17 ships out, of nearly 10,000. The rest were destroyed, captured, or drifting dead in space. That Captain Vexthol was one of the survivors. His ship was badly damaged, but it could still fly. He looked back at Earth one last time before jumping to hyperspace. "What do we tell the Empire?" his communications officer asked. Vexthol was quiet for a long time. How could he explain what had happened? How could he tell the proud Zephyrian Empire that they had been beaten by a species that barely had spaceflight? "We tell them the truth," he finally said. "We tell them that Earth is not to be touched, ever." On Earth, people were celebrating in the streets. The alien fleet was gone. Earth was free. But in the command centers, the leaders knew the real. Work was just beginning. Admiral Lisa Stone, now the highest-ranking officer left alive, stood in what was left of the orbital command center. Through the window, she could see the wreckage of the great battle floating in space. How many of our people made it? She asked. General Linda Anderson checked her reports. About 3,000 crew members survived. Out of nearly 50,000 who fought, Lisa closed her eyes. The victory had cost them almost everyone. But Earth was still free, and that's what mattered. Dr. Lisa Carter was working with teams of scientists to study the captured alien technology. They had managed to board several disabled alien ships during the battle. "This technology is incredible," she told President Brooks. "It could advance our civilization by hundreds of years." "Can we understand it?" the president asked. "Some of it," Lisa said. "The basics are similar to our technology, just much more advanced. We'll need years to figure it all out, but yes, we can learn from it." The captured aliens were another problem. Several hundred alien crew members had been taken prisoner when their ships were disabled. They sat in holding cells, confused and frightened. Commander Bobby Chun was put in charge of talking to them. He had learned their language during the war, and he was the only human who could speak it well. "Why did you fight so hard?" One alien prisoner asked him. "You knew you would lose." "Because it's our home," Bobby said simply. "Wouldn't you fight?" "For your home?" The alien looked confused. "But you were outmatched. Surrender would have been logical." "Logic isn't everything," Bobby said. "Sometimes you fight because it's the right thing to do, even if you can't win." The aliens didn't understand. In their culture, surrender was acceptable when you were beaten. Fighting to the death was wasteful and stupid. They couldn't comprehend why humans would choose death over defeat. Meanwhile, on the Zephyrian homeworld, the High Council was receiving reports from the survivors. They listened in shocked silence as Captain Vexthol described the battle. "You're telling us that humans turned cargo ships into weapons?" one council member asked. "Yes, my lord," Vexthol said. "They turned everything into weapons. Space stations, satellites, even escape pods. And they rammed our ships with their own vessels? Constantly, my lord. They seemed to prefer dying in battle to living in defeat." The council members looked at each other with worry. They had conquered many worlds, but they had never encountered anything like this. "What do you recommend?" the council leader asked. Vexthol didn't hesitate. "Mark their star system as forbidden space. Never go there again. The humans are too. Dangers to conquer." Back on Earth, construction crews were working around the clock to build new defenses. They knew the Zephyrians might come back, and next time Earth had to be ready. Admiral Roy Parker was put in charge of Earth's new Space Defense Force. Using captured alien technology, They began building ships that were faster and stronger than anything Earth had ever made. "We won this time," he told his staff. "But we were lucky. Next time, we need to be prepared." President Brooks addressed the world on television. She stood in the Rose Garden, with the rebuilt White House behind her. "We have learned that we are not alone in the universe," she said. "We have learned that there are those who would take our freedom. But we have also learned that the human spirit cannot be conquered." People around the world listened to her words. They had survived the greatest threat in human history. They had proved that humanity would never give up, never surrender, never stop fighting for what was right. Dr. Carter's team made breakthrough after breakthrough studying alien technology. They learned how to build better engines, stronger shields, more powerful weapons. Earth was becoming a real spacefaring civilization. The aliens thought they were superior, she told a gathering of scientists. But they forgot that intelligence isn't just about technology. It's about creativity, adaptability, and the will to survive. The captured aliens were eventually released and allowed to return home. But before they left, they carried a message. From Earth, "Tell your people," Admiral Stone said to them, "that Earth is protected. Tell them that humans don't start fights, but we finish them." The aliens nodded and departed in one of their own ships that had been repaired. They carried with them stories of human courage that would be told throughout the galaxy. Captain Vexthal visited Earth before he left for the last time. He wanted to see the planet that had destroyed his fleet. What he saw surprised him. Instead of celebrating their victory with parades and monuments, the humans were rebuilding. They were helping the wounded and honoring their dead. They were preparing for the future, not dwelling on the past. "You fought well," he told Admiral Stone during their meeting. "So did you," she replied. "But you fought for conquest. We fought for survival." That made all the difference. As the years passed, word of Earth's victory spread throughout the galaxy. Other alien civilizations heard about the humans who had destroyed the mighty Zephyrian fleet. Some aliens were curious about this new species. Others were afraid. But all of them understood one thing: humans were not to be underestimated. Earth began reaching out to other worlds, not as conquerors, but as explorers and traders. The technology they had captured from the Zephyrians helped them build ships that could travel between stars. Commander Pete Garcia, now an admiral, led the first human expedition to another solar system. They went in peace, but they were ready to fight if necessary. "Remember what we learned," he told his crews before they left. "We don't look for trouble, but we don't run from it either." The galaxy was a big place, full of wonders and dangers. Earth was no longer alone and isolated. Humanity had announced its presence in the most dramatic way possible. On the Zephyrian homeworld, teachers now told stories about the humans of Earth. They warned young Zephyrians about the species that turned their own ships into weapons, that fought harder when outnumbered, that preferred death to surrender. "Never underestimate a species fighting for its home," the teachers said. "The humans taught us that courage can overcome any advantage." Captain Vexthal eventually became an admiral himself. He never forgot the lessons he learned at Earth. When other Zephyrian fleets wanted to attack primitive worlds, he reminded them of what happened to Admiral Kethvar. "Some species are not meant to be conquered," he would say. The humans proved that. Earth's victory changed the galaxy forever. It showed that technological superiority didn't guarantee victory. It proved that the will to fight could overcome any odds. And somewhere in space, on the growing fleet of human ships exploring the stars, crews told stories of the great battle. They remembered the pilots who gave their lives, the soldiers who never surrendered, and the ordinary people who became heroes. The universe was vast and full of dangers. But humanity was ready for whatever came next. They had proven they could not be conquered. Earth was no longer just another world. It was the home of the species that had done the impossible, the species that had turned defeat into victory through courage, determination, and the unbreakable human spirit. The stars were calling, and humanity was